episode 27, I asked for your feedback on a couple of things that have been changing in the Seiyu industry, and especially in the 2D music industry. From time to time, expect me to leave you some questions so that you can participate on Seiyu Lounge. That way I mix things a little bit by having an episode focused on your opinions on certain topics, plus my take in the middle of those deep educational episodes I release from time to time. So expect this episode to be a bit less complex than usual. Let's kick off this episode of Seiyu Lounge. Welcome to Seiyu Lounge. I am your host Vanessa, and today's topic is the small changes in the 2D music industry, part 1. I said small changes, but most of these will be quite the big changes if they materialize in the future. I left a couple of questions on YouTube on episode 27 about the 20 best songs by male Seiyu in 2020. If you haven't checked it out, please do. There's plenty of awesome music in there, as well as a playlist for you to enjoy those songs time and time again in the same place. So for this episode, I will go over some of the questions or big topics and give you my thoughts, as well as getting to know your opinions on some of those. A shout out to Grecia, Iris and Isabel for your awesome replies. Also, apologies if I butchered any of your names. I will go back and forth between your replies to cover different topics in this episode. If you didn't get your opinion featured on this episode but would love to be featured in future ones, don't forget to leave comments on Seiyu Lounge's episodes. From time to time, I'll go over the comments and craft episodes in which you can also share with everyone your passions and opinions on relevant topics. Now let's explore a bit the small changes that I have been noticing in the 2D music industry in the last couple of months. Rock music making its big return. As a massive fan of rock music, I can't help but to want this to be true. And over the 11 years in which I've had the pleasure of reviewing a lot of music performed by male Seiyu and 2D units or groups, I have always secretly wished most of the pop music I was reviewing was, in fact, rock. I've mentioned on episode 26 that rock is a music genre that I grew up listening to and that to this day I enjoy a whole lot. Whereas with pop, I have a sort of a weird relationship. If it gets too bright and bubbly, I am usually far away from it. If it's dark or more emotional, I am all over it. Pop music has grown on me with time, but rock is still that precious to me. And like me, many of you love rock music and would love to find more of it within 2D music projects, as well as solo artists of Seiyu background. I was actually surprised to find some of you in the comments over these past 6 months of Seiyu Lounge telling me that you love rock and wish there were more rock projects or artists out there. I feel you on this one, I really do. Thankfully, it seems that rock may be making its comeback to the spotlight. I say may because in the last 3 years there has been a resurgence of 2D rock music projects out there, but for every 3 idol projects there's only 1 rock project, so it's hard to say this is a trend when, if lucky, we get 1 rock project per year. Dig Rock, Carnelian Blood with Erosion, Argonavis from Bang Dream, Gang Rock, Vez Rock and Enlight Tribe. If you take a closer look, this is quite the lineup. Although some of these have had more success than others, a good example is how Gang Rock is slowly fading away, whereas Argonavis from Bang Dream is on an all-time high in popularity among rock projects. Rock is still keeping itself alive in the 2D music industry. It may not be catchy, it may not be easy listening or welcoming to first-time listeners, but for long-time fans of the genre, all these projects have, one way or another, made sure we get our dose of shredding guitar solos, pounding double bass drums, punching bass lines, and raw emotional vocals with every single one of their CD releases. With the best rock projects in the 2D music industry in hiatus or practically dead, I am talking about Fly Me Project and Bandia Rose, I thought creators would stop betting on rock music given how popular pop and now hip-hop are as music genres for the younger audiences. Thankfully, the few daredevils that announce new rock projects and nurture those for years, despite low sales numbers, ultimately what killed Fly Me Project, keep rock alive. Among the best bands coming from the newest generation of 2D rock projects are Rubio Leopard, Gyroaxia, Phantom Iris, Vezi, and Erosion. Commenter Iris joins in the conversation by saying, I am quite a fan of rock music, thus I need to listen to Gyroaxia, so I hope for great songs being released this year too. Gyroaxia had quite the awesome 2020, their releases were pretty consistent, with Ignition and especially Egoist standing out for their powerful punk rock sound. Punk rock, and particularly on the vocal end, screamo, are not fan favorites. Even among fans of rock music, there's that discussion on whether screamo or music featuring screamo vocals is considered good rock music. But to find it once again back in 2D music projects was a surprise. Gyroaxia and Erosion brought it back in 2020. Gyroaxia's Jin Ogasawara and Erosion's Shoya Chiba showed a bit of their vocal chops in the screamo department with outstanding performances, and although this isn't the type of screamo Tatsu does regularly for old codecs or what Soma Saito did for Medicode, they still had awesome showings, making that very specific side of rock music come to the spotlight once more and through 2D groups. Among all the 2.5D rock bands out there, Gyroaxia and Erosion stand out as the best and will certainly be the ones to be on the lookout for this year. Also on the subject, Isabel said, I am thrilled for the fact that rock music is making its return. And yeah, I do feel that it is making a return. Now big franchises like A3 and Bang Dream, just to name a few, aren't afraid to branch out into the genre, and I'm not too great with naming genres, but I think that some of the more punk rock songs from these popular franchises really do help warm fans up to rock as a genre. There's just something about a powerful belt, some killer electric guitars and some drums that gets you going. Fans of rock music really feel those guitar solos and pounding drums. It is electrifying, energizing, and it hypes you in ways that other music genres aren't able to. Thankfully, we're seeing rock music with a lot of quality emerge, and Gyroaxia, Erosion, as well as Rubio Leopard fill that void of fast-paced, high-octane rock music that we love. Also, a thing I agree on with Isabel is how punk rock is being used as a music genre to attract a type of music fan that usually avoids idol or 2D projects in general. Weirdly enough, punk rock isn't the friendliest rock genre, so I believe that many fans of pop music have been having those kinds of what the hell moments when coming across punk rock. Believe me, fans of rock music have the same reaction when coming across bubbly pop music. Kidding aside, rock has always had an expression in 2D music projects. There's always a group within idol projects that has a rock sound or an edgier sound that lends a lot of elements from rock. So it is safe to say that rock is expected to be featured even in idol projects. However, heavy rock like in Autumn Troops, Just for Myself, a certified banger in my books, Erosion's Redhead or Gyroaxia's Egoist were not expected, much less something that is getting more common within 2D music projects. Autumn Troops, Just For Myself was composed by Old Codex's former guitarist and Stereodive Foundation's mastermind, Ron. I am a massive fan of Ron's work, and to find him in A3 composing hard-hitting rock that didn't shy away from its aggressive sound and dirty vibe was something that made my jaw drop. Ron's an awesome composer and extremely versatile, but that is a talk for another episode. 2D music projects are now focusing a bit more on rock music. I won't say a whole lot because, let's be honest, pop is still the dominating music genre for its accessibility and simplicity. Commenter Grecia is hopeful about rock music and about different ways to approach it. She adds, "I hope rock music makes its return. I like that it's more common to see rock music in 2D projects and Seiyu, and I like that franchises experiment combining rock with other genres. I love the feeling of listening to a rock song with an unexpected twist on it. I hope this trend keeps going and we have great surprises this year." I am with you on this. 2D music projects are bringing rock back, but not in the purest way. It is always a hybrid, a subgenre, or a unique twist, at least within 2D music projects and Seiyu music. You have Rubio Leopard bringing grunge rock with a bit of funk on top, Gyroaxia with a hybrid of punk rock and hard rock, Impish Crow embracing power pop, Erosion with an interesting blend of heavy rock and electronica. The Dear Vocalist franchise is an example, as well as versatility and unique ways to tackle rock music. Once again, the composer for all frontmen in this project is none other than Ron. I swear, this guy is a genius. Commenter Isabel pitches in again and adds, "I love the genre and we have some truly talented vocals for the genre in the Seiyu industry, and this really is the best sort of matchup in my opinion. Seiyu are really the one group of people with the skill to cover a large range of genres and have the vocal technique and knowledge to be able to do so safely. And rock has always been the kind of genre that has some techniques or tricks that when done improperly does leave a mark on your vocals, so hopefully this means that Seiyu will be able to avoid that pitfall then. We do indeed have awesome talent on the vocal end among male Seiyu. However, I wouldn't go as far as saying that Seiyu in general are a group of people with skill to cover a large range of genres. Let me tell you why. While many male Seiyu like Toshiyuki Toyonaga, Mamoru Miyano, Kisho, Tatsu, Yuma Uchida, Shota Aoi, Soma Saito, Makoto Furukawa, Shugo Nakamura, for example, are regarded for insane versatility as singers, being able to perform almost any music genre you throw at them, then you have the other side of the coin, the voice actors that are really good at one music genre and usually don't sound great in any other music genres. For example, Hiroshi Kamiya, Hiroshi Mono, and Jun Fukuyama are good at the music genres that dictate their solo careers. However, whenever they are put in different environments, they usually don't perform well. Professional singing teachers will tell you that they aren't really that versatile. Skilled? Yes. Versatile as singers? Not really. So it is a case-by-case thing. However, in a way, I do agree with you. The newest generation of male Seiyu do have the tools and skills to cover a lot of music genres. Notice how, among all those names I named a couple of seconds ago, many were born in the 90s. These are voice actors in their 20s right now. With that being said, it is noticeable that male Seiyu from newest generations have shown impressive singing skills and versatility, and yes, like you said, Seiyu are a group of people with skill to cover a large range of genres. Also, awesome to see that you are aware of the dangers of not having proper technique, especially for those Seiyu that perform rock music. Like I mentioned before, Jin Ogasawara and Shoya Chiba had their try at Screamo in 2020. But many of you will immediately say, not a true take on Screamo, it was soft. Yes, it was soft, but no one is asking them to Screamo like Tatsu in Old Codex's Deal With, or Soma Saito on Medicode's Karma. Those tame takes on Screamo are due to most likely both singers not having practical experience singing Screamo. Chiba is a metalhead, but it was his first take performing in such a way. Ogasawara is a complete blank for me. His fans will know better if he's a metalhead or if he does have experience performing rock and, in this case, Screamo. From what I've had the pleasure to listen, he sounds like he has experience performing rock music. Still, Seiyu do have the vocal techniques and knowledge to be able to perform safely. They know exactly what is their range, their limitations, their strengths and weaknesses, and they perform usually avoiding damaging their voice. But a tired voice after a 2, 3 or 4 hour recording can get damaged by the tamest of screams, so that's one of the various reasons why Seiyu avoids screaming and especially performing Screamo. The strain in the voice, even with pauses to recover, can stress the vocal cords and deal serious damage. Although not caused by performing Screamo, just read a bit about the issues Yoshimasa Osoya had with his vocal cords due to continuous strain plus frequent screaming. He can't sing right now. If he does, he loses his ability to be a voice actor. Scary, but it is a reminder that proper technique, proper rest, avoiding straining, and constantly taking care of the vocals can go a long way to avoid injuries. This applies to voice acting in general as well as singing. So rock is definitely making a comeback. In a way, I don't want it to turn into a trend, but instead have a lot more popularity so that more 2D music projects exploring rock music appear and current ones can carry on with their awesome music. Same thing for solo artists. When only Old Codex, Gran Rodeo, Shotaro Morikubo, Hiroshi Mono and Soma Saito are actively performing rock, something is wrong. I get it, pop music is more appealing to the masses, but still... Rock is an exciting music genre with a lot of color and flavor. Extremely versatile, this is a music genre that approaches emotions in a raw state and oftentimes delivers memorable performances. And on the vocal end, it is a fantastic outlet for male seiyuu to showcase their singing chops, techniques, and versatility. Rock is an exciting music genre, and it is awesome to see that, just like me, there are a lot of you that love this messy and raw music genre as much as I do, and genuinely want more seiyuu and 2D music projects to embrace it. I agree with all of you when you mention that rock music is a music genre that male seiyuu can shine in, especially as they have a vast skill set that enables them to perform it safely and comfortably. Looking at Argonavis from Bang Dream, Dig Rock, Vaz Rock, Carnelian Blood, as well as the good old Dear Vocalist franchise, you can see that we have a lot of quality in this side of the music industry by male seiyuu and 2D music projects. Solo artists are already a bit more comfortable around rock. Gakuto Kajiwara embraced rock music for his solo debut, something that is pretty exciting. Shotaro Morikubo is still as awesome as ever, Old Codex and Gran Rodeo dominate the industry, Soma Saito is reviving emo rock, shoegaze rock and goth rock with his music. Shugo Nakamura's take on acoustic rock is so unusually warm and gentle, something that no other solo artist has managed to pull off. Even Yuma Uchida had a go at rock music in 2020 with his single Over. Rock is surely making a place for itself in the 2D music and seiyuu industries, and I sure hope it is here to stay this time around. Now tell me, If you could recommend any 2D rock music project to any of the listeners of Seiyu Lounge, which would it be and why? Let me know in the comments below. Leave your comments as complex or as simple as they may be, and you can be featured on upcoming episodes of Seiyu Lounge. If you enjoyed this episode and don't want to miss the Hand That Feeds HQ's weekly mail Seiyu and music-related content, hit the subscribe button. I'll return next week with another episode of Seiyu Lounge. Thank you for listening and see you guys around.